What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. Happy Friday. It's a good Friday for me because in my hands, literally, this came today from FedEx. I got an email earlier saying my package was delayed. It wasn't going to get here until tomorrow, but now it's here. And this was the shortest Hasbro Marvel Legends release in like the last 2 years. It was, hey, here's the official shots. Here's a preview of this Quinjet. What's it attached to? Oh, it's Giant-Man and Wasp for our Marvel Legends line. And bam, in my hands. So soon, gonna do a video breakdown, see what I think about this set. I spared you the trouble of me X-Acto knifing all this away, but this is gonna be my immediate opening of the box, taking a look firsthand at Hank Pym and Jan Van Dyne. Good, effective use of box space here. Good work as always. Whatever our accordion packaging is here, let's try to protect your ears a little bit. Nice. Here you go. In hand, the last two members of the Avengers, if you will. And here's the side. This is from Tales to Astonish 50, I believe. I think I tracked that down as correct. Let me pull this up because I actually did most of the writing for the review earlier. And I wanted to see, like, hey, what is this issue? Because the image, the artwork was not something that was immediately familiar to me. This is just classic Marvel artwork from back in the day. And this was from indeed Tales to Astonish number 50. So here's the full look of them in packaging. Back to the windows. We still have the Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest. I love that color scheme with the white, the metallic red, and the blue accents. Let's take a look at the backside here. Here you go. This is the rendition of Avengers number 4. I think that's number 4. And you see, it's not quite the classic vintage version, but it's kind of cool because we have Giant-Man in the background. We've got Cap in the forefront, Thor and the Wasp, and just missing Submariner getting his little shady look, and we're all set. But I so excited about this. You guys know I've been championing for a Marvel Legends HasLab Giant-Man for years. He's coming. We've got a shorter version of him. We've got the Wasp as well. There we go. So looking forward to breaking this down and seeing if it lives up, matches my high expectations. Very excited. My initial look, very quick look. No problems with the paint job. Let's see if y'all can see. Hank and Jan, no crazy face issues, face printing. Looks spectacular on both. So there you go. And all the accessories. All right, time to unbox. And I'll take this over to the studio. We'll get to work breaking down the Marvel Legends, Giant-Man, and Wasp. All right, so here you can see them in their plastic prison. Both looking good. Giant-Man, Hank's head looks awesome. We've already seen this before with the West Coast Avengers set, but I think they did a little bit of improvement on it. It looks good. The Giant-Man head, though, is really awesome. I mean, it really looks like the HasLab version we're getting soon, just done in 6-inch format. Not as much detail, of course, but it still looks great. Here's both versions of Jan's head sculpts, and I think these are awesome. They did such a great job on those. They turn out so well. Ditto for Hank's 2 head sculpts. There's all the gimmicks, the accessories. Looks really good. Nice allotment of accessories. Let's bring them up, see how they look. All right, let's start off with Giant-Man. This Hank Pym head sculpt is fantastic. He looks focused, stern, like he's going, Jan, don't bother me. I've got a very important calculation to work through. The stitching on the lab coat's pretty good. It's not super detailed, but I mean, what does he really need that for? And just a solid looking figure. Old Hank looking great. I'm so excited to get him in this version, but that's not the most exciting part of Giant-Man. Let's lose the lab coat. In case you're worried about scale and size of how this Giant-Man is going to work compared to some of the other Hank Pym figures, here's a quick look how they all match up. Let's start off with this first one, Ant-Man. You can see here, Giant-Man Definitely darker reds, darker blues. The black is not as shiny as it is on Ant-Man. It's really colorful. And I kind of like the difference here because, yeah, he's a little bit more serious. He's more powerful. Now, just a few notes on the paint job. Mine is just a few little issues there on the V. You might not even be able to see it. It's one of those things where I'm looking for flaws, so it's not awful. The silver looks good. It's not a bright, vibrant. That's fine. Of course, there's a little bit of discoloration with that red, the plastic here, and the red paint. I'm sure you can see that. Not a big deal. Certainly not a problem for me. Let's pop this head off so we can get him in full costume attire. So there's Giant Man. This head sculpt is so great. And when I saw it with the HasLab, I was really impressed. It looks just as good here in this format. The Marvel Legends version, just a really, really nice head sculpt. He's looking up, and I think that makes sense in this one case because, yeah, he needs to see what's above him before he starts growing to 25 feet. And this is Giant Man ready for action. Just so fun actually having a 6-inch Giant Man ready to get big and go into battle. This fellow Avengers. Quick comparisons on another side. So we've got him with Ant-Man here. I've shown you that. Here's Hank Pym added to the mix. And I kind of dig that Hasbro keeps shifting up, switching up the reds. So Ant-Man has a really bright and vibrant red, slightly darker for Giant Man. And then the Hank Pym adventurer slash go-to whiz genius of the West Coast Avengers, more like a burnt orange red. So I like that we've got some distinction between the different looks. And this mold, of course, is different. So we'll just chalk up that extra height to him wearing combat boots. But these two figures are pretty close in height. Let's just do a real fast scale check just to make sure Hasbro didn't lose their ruler. I think they borrowed McFarlane Toys ruler. So you can see he's the West Coast Avengers one is way taller. Again, I'm just going to chalk it up to the boots and not just the mold is a little bit oversized for this character. It's funny because it looks like Giant Man might be the shortest one of the three. Of course, he doesn't have a big helmet like Ant-Man, so that might be playing into that slightly tricky visual, but they're the same, which is really the important part because I'm not going to have these three versions of Hank Pym hanging together. All right, let's show you real fast how he looks with some of the other Avengers. And of course, I was super slow and have not opened my 20th anniversary Iron Man yet or Captain America. But here is the 80th anniversary cap. And that's pretty much the same. It's the same figure, just slightly darker colors. Here is Thor. So Thor is noticeably taller, bigger than both of these guys. Thor, of course, is noticeably taller than both. That's cool. And I'm going to be loving the little shift in this display as Giant Man goes from the shortest regular Avenger to the tallest. That's going to be really fun to pull off in the display. But that's how he looks so far right now. So that's Giant Man next to his fellow Avengers. Let's take a look at his accessories. He's got two grasping hands. So when he needs to grab some of his equipment in the lab, he's got them at the ready. Not that exciting, but it makes sense for him. They pop off really easily. No problem there. So he can do his tortured scientist. Why me? And he starts getting bigger. You can really flare those shoulders back because of the nice butterfly shoulders. Now they did do a little bit of work there, so it kind of stretches. So a little bit, you can get maybe that much range before you start losing the black, but that's when he really cocks back. So for your more dramatic poses, you're not going to be able to keep that black going all the way. But for the most part, you can swing it just fine. And that Giant Man or Ant-Man figure had fantastic articulation. Ditto for this one. No problems. Really nice, fluid movement. One of my favorite figures in that sense because he doesn't have any sticky joints. He doesn't have any loose ones. He can hit stuff really easy, no problem there. So very fun. You can see, I mean, he is just great in the sense of this is that HasLab Giant-Man, just done in the scale. If you have the space in your display, you got him. So it looks really good. Just a fun figure. Awesome look on my man Hank. They came through, delivered big time with him. He's got a few more accessories. So let's pull those out. Test tube beaker 1, test tube beaker 2. I'm not sure if you can make out fully how this is set up. There's a blue tube in here that kind of gives you some depth in there. So it's just not a plain globe. Same deal. More of a triangle in this one. So the base is full, but not so much there. And my really quick, very fast, let me just test this out. Did not seem like he can actually hold the test tubes in his hands. At least these ones. It didn't look like either one fit smoothly or easily. I'm sure I could do some maneuvering later on, but just on that really fast, quick one, no go. He has another fist or hand. Hank only has one fist. So he's got this one. This is the deep in thought default hand. Like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's very necessary for scientists. So I like that he's got that. That's really cool. Nicely done. There you go. There is one accessory that he can't hold with no problem. That is the special tablet. And that was done with the Scientist Supreme already. We've seen him with that. And it comes again with Hank. You can hold that. Not now, Jan. Got to get these calculations done. So, very fun accessories for him. Throw these off. So you got your lab coat version, and then you've got we got to get this calculation before AIM and Hydra ruin Avengers Island. And maybe it's not going to be the tightest fit in his hands, but you kind of get the general idea, get the gist of it. Let me look at these numbers. That's crazy. So there you go. Not the best fit. I'm going to fiddle around with those a little more, see if they work any easier. But for now, not a perfect fit. I don't really care. All right. So if you want to pretend and imagine that this is your fully large Giant-Man, you got your Quinjet. That also comes with this too. Here's the Quinjet. You can see all the detail in it. They did a nice job considering the scale. The cockpit is painted a little darker pewter blue. And there you go. Looks nice. Even did the bottom so it can land. And you want to play around. Hey, Hank's giant size already. Here's our Quinjet swooping in with him. Super giant size, Giant-Man, and Quinjet with the rest of the Avengers coming in. There you go. Now let's take a look at Wasp. I've said already I don't have any other 2024 Marvel Legends, but oh my gosh, she's going to be really hard to beat. This head sculpt is gorgeous. Just such a fantastic job. This is what she looked like in the prototypes. And we all know that sometimes they change. They look a little bit different, but that is not the case here with her. This figure is awesome. The paint job is spectacular. The sculpt looks good. And, when I was working on this review, I kind of missed peeping this for the first time ever, how we've got a W right there with her antenna and then the point there. So that creates another W to mirror this one. Just really nice. And this figure is such a great base body for however many Wasp figures Hasbro wants to give us. So it's got the base elements just fine. Those shoulder tips, kind of raised shoulder pads, the flare gloves, that is really nicely done. Gives a little bit more character to it. They're not painted, which is awesome. And you can see here just all that great detail. The Pym particle canisters there. She's got the ear pods in her radio actually raises, so you can move that back and forth. She needs to talk to Hank a little bit closer. There you go. The boots are painted, not a big deal. That works just fine. And did you notice the skirt piece, which I think is so well done? It's set up where it flares up and down right around her hips, allowing for no restrictions whatsoever with that movement. So she can do all kinds of stuff. Pinless joints, that's always key. And there you go. So it is not hindering her articulation whatsoever. No top piece torso articulation. That's something they're doing a little bit more of. She's got decent range up here. It goes up well enough, comes down about to that range. The back and forth is better, but in terms of what she's going to be doing and how you're going to pose her, this is fine. I don't feel like she's particularly frail like some of the other Marvel Legend female figures. So this is a really good base body. One, I hope that they're used again because this is really well done here. She does have really good range in her neck though, so she can hit those flying poses really well, really easily. And here's something I definitely want to point out. So with previous Wasp figures, we've always seen like this gaudy, janky back setup so you can attach the wings. That's not the case with this one. And this is where I think we're going to see this body reused several times. Here's the back of this Wasp. So just like kind of two small holes, which you can't even notice from this side shot. They're not extending out. They just plug right in to her back like that. Let me show you another Wasp figure just to give you a better sense of how that normally was done. Now, this is the retro Wasp figure, and I really like this one. I love the hair sculpt. I thought the head sculpt looked awesome. The costume was really well done. Here's that back on her, though. You can already see, like, they're pointing already out. Check the profile here. It's so clean and so much better. So I mean, she's got like tabs here, and they're just sticking out. They look just bad. It's one of those things where this Wasp figure was fine if you kept her front facing. So she looked great from this side. We started doing some other stuff. Got a little bit dicey, a little bit suspect, but this one looks really good. And let's do a quick comparison. The height. Another thing that's going to be really cool about this one is it looks like she's not going to be particularly loose and bow-legged like my retro Wasp figure. So that's fine. And this is cool. I think this new Wasp definitely has an improved head sculpt. They're gonna have to hopefully just transplant the whole face to any other Wasp figures going forward because this looks really, really well done. And let's go through, show how she looks with the rest of the Avengers. So if you want to go completely classic, here's her with Ant-Man. And they look really nice together. And you notice that Wasp is a little bit taller than the old one, but she's not rocking high heels. She's still shorter than Hank, which to me is, kind of important part of their whole dynamic. She should be by far the smallest, shortest Avenger. That holds true even against this Ant-Man. And I'll spare you since I don't have my Hulk in shorts. Still waiting on him and the rest of it. Here's how Wasp measures up with her wave mate or package partner, Giant-Man. He tends to lean a little bit forward with his feet. See if I can straighten him out a little bit better. There we go. So he's again taller. That's great. Exactly what I want to see out of those two. Giant-Man, Wasp right here. Way too dark. Too blue. Captain America with her. Yeah, finally Thor. He's taking everything out of range of the camera angle, but there you go. So that's the Avengers. I really need to grab my Iron Man, but there you go. General sense of how they look. Okay, there you go. That's the Avengers lined up against each other. Let's check out Wasp and her accessories. Okay, here you go. Wasp. Most important aspect, of course, her wings. So she's got those same translucent wings that we've seen before with other Wasp figures. It's pulled out a little more so you can have some full flying effects going. Let's see here. I never remember which way they're supposed to go. So just plug them in to the back. Not too difficult there. Just nice. Don't want to break my new figure just when I opened her. And plug in really easily. So that's how they look from the back. And the great thing is they're not hindering her balance. They're not weighing her down, allowing her to stand just fine with the new wings on, with her wings attached. So there's Wasp with her wings. They look good. You can move and position them however you like. That's kind of the base default. I don't know how often I'll keep her with the wings on because they take up a ton of space on the shelf. The good thing about them is you can collapse them really easily on her. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Maybe actually I think these are low only because of the drop point or the connection piece. Now they sat better on the retro version. Okay, you can see how much higher the connection point is on this Wasp versus how low they are here. That's really only going to matter if you have Wasp with the wings on here. They're going to look like they're hanging really, really low. But yeah, since it's so easy to take them off, I don't really see a reason why you'd want to have them. So that's how they look up on the retro version of Wasp. Sit up a lot higher, all that good stuff. Trying to think if I just have these on backwards. I don't know if it really matters, but there's the opposite way. So I flip them around so you can see just the size. But anyway, Wasp doesn't have a ton of accessories, but the ones she has are great. So she's got gesturing hands. These look different than our normal hands that we've seen so many other times. They don't look like the same conjuring hands we've seen from Wanda and her 3 or 4 different figures. That's nice. And you can see she's got good range. I don't think this setup allows her to have butterfly shoulders, but they're really good in terms of rearing back, so she can really hit some good flying, gesturing poses. So there you go with her. Bam, let's throw the wings on. So there she goes. All the wings on. Sorry for the light backdrop, but you get the idea. Jan's final accessory might be my favorite that they've thrown in. It is a unmasked, unhelmeted head sculpt. Again, it's really well done. I want to see how it would look on this one. You can see the paint is slightly different. The neck doesn't hold as low. I still like it. And I may just swap this out and make this the head that I'm using on this retro Wasp figure. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good. Even without the neck. The skin tones are a little bit different. I think you can see that, but not enough that I'm like, nah, not going to use that. One thing everybody was complaining about was the lack of a miniature figure with Wasp, and I don't know. I never found that to be a big issue. This is the last mini fig of Wasp that we've gotten from the Secret Wars Marvel Universe set, and you can see she does not have any detail on the face, and that's not surprising given the scale. But she's stuck in one pose. There's no articulation, and she doesn't do anything. I mean, she can't. Her feet are positioned in a way that you cannot have her on a stand, and that's a problem. So she's just kind of there. And if you want to have a mini Wasp, that's all you got. So it's not a big deal to me that she's not included in this set. Same thing with Giant-Man. So I'm really happy with this one. I just feel like the Hasbro team really knocked it out. Awesome versions on both characters. We get our first appearance, Wasp. We get a Giant-Man to partner up with that HasLab version, and they both were done really well. Have a good amount of accessories, and they just are really solid quality looking figures, and definitely a good core piece of your Avengers showcase of the original Avengers. I can't wait to finally open my Iron Man, get Hulk in his shorts, so I can fully reenact Avengers #1. But yeah, this is a really great offering. If you're on the fence, definitely recommend it. I didn't have any issues with it at all. So definitely worth the purchase price. And to get a great set like this early, really awesome. So again, let me know what you think. And thanks for watching. As always, this episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.